Good morning. It is Thursday, April 11th. Kyle is still on site. He's wrapping up the Kain Families and Friends event. He's going to tell us about that, but we're also going to talk about a little Tesla surprise on a deconstruction and insurance costs for cars still going up.
Whoa.
For houses still going up.
I apologize. If you know who Fred and Lou are, the car guy, coffee guys,
And
they're
we
over
do.
here doing a podcast. They might break through the gate every once in a while. There's all the energy here on the last morning of the Kain conference.
I mean, Fred and Lou are kind of low energy to begin with.
Yeah, they're not really hype, you know. So it's luckily they'll be nice and quiet.
I know. I really hope they can make it out to ASOTU CON. They've been at the last two. I don't know if you've talked to them about it. I sent them a text message, but maybe we can put some pressure on them to be there.
I can do that. I'll go twist their arm in just a moment.
Okay, perfect. Hey, ASOTU CON is coming in hot. You know about it if you've heard the show once in the last 3 months. Go to ASOTUCon.com. Get your tickets. At this point, I don't know. We may be sold out of hotel rooms in the first block. In our main room
I haven't even checked this.
I know yesterday we were at 4 rooms, and like a week ago we were at 30 rooms. So momentum is definitely picking up. We have some new sponsors that have been signing up. Hierology is the latest one. Super excited to welcome our friends at Hierology and Adam Robinson back. We go way back actually, and it's going to be fun to introduce a lot of our community to him at ASOTU CON. But just go to the site, check out the list of speakers, check out the list of sponsors that are on there. If you want to be with us, with all of these dealers and all of these practitioners and all of these sessions and the keynotes and the workshops and the swag, please buy your ticket now so that we can make sure we're ready for you. If you still want to be a part of it from a sponsorship standpoint, we still have a couple spaces left. But it seems like that's also picking up quick and they're disappearing, but you should be there. Our audience is dedicated.
I was actually talking to someone this morning about the event. They're excited about coming. They remember being there last year, and just the types of conversations that happened both on the panels and then immediately after them. Yep. They said that's what they were most excited about, right? Like, we have fun stuff, we do production, the whole 9 yards, but that's what they were most excited about. They came to me with that this morning. So I'm pumped. We're just a month out, and it's like the next big thing on my calendar. So I'm ready.
I love it. All right, Kareem, from shout out from Hoffman Auto Group in Hartford, Connecticut this morning on the live stream. We see you. We hear. I'll tune it in on YouTube as well. Let's go. We live stream it if you're just hearing this podcast on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, etc. All right, Wednesday night, the rooms are sold out. Nathan's telling us right now the rooms have now sold out, but there's still rooms Thursday night, Friday night. There's other hotels, and you can still book rooms, I think, in the hotel. They gave us most of their rooms. I think they have like 240 rooms. They gave us 200.
Yeah, they gave us 200. So it'll be ruckus.
Well, yeah. So when you're in that hotel, you know who you're going to see?
You know who
people. You're going to see your people.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So we hope you can join us there. Just check it out. Just go check it out. And if not, we love you still just as much. What else we got going on? New auto.
There's I love these auto collabs podcasts, and particularly this one. We did this with Bobby Gaudreau at Activator Dealer Services, and he's actually here, and we were chatting about just that conversation. And so you've got to go check it out. It's Auto Collabs. You can search it anywhere podcasts are. But I think there's some things that people just don't know about companies that have seemed to be around for a long time in auto. And this is one of those kind of expose all podcasts. So you're going to want to check it out.
Oh, I love that. Auto Collabs. If you can't hear it, COLLABS. Just search it up on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music, etc. Kyle, before we get into the stories, you have spent the last few days with David Kain and company at the Kain Friends and Family event. Obviously, a very close-knit community where people are sharing, talking, spending some time together, both what's happening on the stage and off the stage. Give us a few points for all of those of us who could not be there. I'm jealous.
Well, I'll tell you this, Mike Stanton was here and was able to talk just about, kind of went around the house of everything that's happening on Capitol Hill, which is EVs, tax credits, things like the CARS rule that is still being discussed on Capitol Hill, even though we've kind of stopped talking about it since it's being stayed right now. And then the big conversation among dealers, I've had 3 separate conversations in different timelines about, again, the impact of the change in profitability on vehicles hurting their employees' income, and how they're managing that conversation, and the change in, particularly on the variable ops side, the change in income and how they're navigating that weird part of our industry now, and supporting their employees through the change in what they bring home every month. So
Well, and that's a very, I mean, obviously you want to take care of your people. You also have to take care of the business.
yep.
And for those people who got used to that, or maybe even came into the industry, like this is a massive shift. And like, there's nothing like when a situation hits your pocketbook to make you like rethink things and try to shift. The major problem, and dealers are very empathetic, and I'm sure trying to solve it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of conversations around this at ASOTU CON, because people talk about the most pressing things when they get together. Who was I with? Oh yeah, it was did a little preview with Don Hall yesterday,
Right.
and he was just talking about the power of being together and what happens and the speed at which communication happens and problems get fixed and solved. And you find these like impromptu, we'll call them mentors or coaches, that are a little bit in a different place, maybe a little bit ahead of you, maybe, and ahead of you doesn't mean older, right? Maybe you've just taken on a new piece of software or a new process or a new idea, and that person's been doing it for a year or two, and you're just starting. And so those are the things that you learn, I think, when you're together, that just exponentially impact your business and the first day when you get back. So again,
Absolutely.
that's cool. It's great. And I know a lot of those people that were at there are going to be with us in 33 days from now. And so we hope to see you there too. Thanks for giving us the feedback. Let's talk about some news. Just as car buyers are breathing a sigh of relief from the decreasing vehicle prices, a new hurdle is quickly emerging: skyrocketing insurance rates. Darin Davis experience, that we're going to talk about in a minute from this Reuters article, kind of epitomizes the shift, as his insurance on his Cadillac went up quite a bit. So car prices have dropped. Obviously, we're all paying attention to that. Now what's happening is insurance rates have gone up on average 22% over the past year, which is the largest increase since the 1970s. So vehicle prices stabilize, decrease, insurance prices going up. We're still talking about the center point of affordability. So this gentleman, Darin Davis, 56 years old from Dallas, basically his insurance cost for his 2024 XT4 nearly doubled when he renewed. So he bought the car.
Wow.
Think about it. He bought the car a year ago. Prices were high.
Golly, here's my budget, right?
Yes. And now the insurance price doubles. He says it takes the fun out of owning a new car when you're paying so much money. And without a doubt, like, this is impacting new buyers who are in the dealerships, and they're saying, okay, great, here's a payment I can afford. They might be in for a surprise when they renew their insurance.
Well, that's what's nerve-wracking to me, because most dealers actually don't force that car to get insured before it goes off the lot, because in most states you have the insurance will cover you for 10 to 14 days depending on the state. And so this buyer is going to come home and then change their insurance and kind of have this buyer's remorse without you being in the room to kind of coach them through that. And so may just be a heads up, especially for those that are on tight budgets or are looking at the affordability of the vehicle and very focused on payments, to go ahead and walk them through the insurance process in the showroom, so you can manage that expectation right then and not have that kind of recoil effect 2 or 3 days later potentially.
Right, because I mean that's bad for everybody. It's bad for the consumer. Exactly. It's bad for the sentiment around the purchasing experience. Even in states like New York, you have to have the car insured before it can be plated and leave the lot. You typically don't have a premium conversation. It's like, we've added the vehicle to your policy, and you don't usually get the premium adjustment for a little bit after that. So I think it really doesn't matter, And so it's definitely something I'd be curious on how some dealers are approaching this, especially those who are, I think, the front runners in considering affordability issues, like Matt Lasher. We'll have to ask him about it and seeing what they're doing or what they're seeing on the front lines. Speaking of what people are seeing on the front line of engineering, finish my sentence. So the Tesla Cybertruck, the design, it kind of continues to intrigue a lot of people and baffle some people, but there's a new teardown video revealing a massive but oddly half full battery pack in the floor pan. So Sandy Monroe, they have an engineering channel where they disassemble things. So they took a Cybertruck. They're going to release the full video. So the teardown unveils a battery pack, and you can see it in the video where you're like, where are the rest of the batteries? Which makes a little bit of sense. So now the Cybertruck range is falling short in tests. 254 miles, potentially as low as 200 miles of range under certain conditions. So, people are saying, like, did they do this to cut costs? They are selling an expansion pack to be coming. It's supposed to go in the bed, but there's still a lot of room in the floor battery pack as far as what it looks like. one lead
Wow.
Cybertruck engineer commented on their post. You know, they say, "Hey, the battery pack looks empty," and he said, "Looks half full to me." So little play on the half empty, half full.
You know, glass half full.
That's very Tesla, right?
You know, you never know what goes into this. Maybe it's vehicle weight. Maybe it's like, some way the weight is distributed, the balance, right? But it does stand to reason, hey, maybe there's some more out there, right? Maybe there's more range there to be had, and who knows how like Tesla's playing the long game of that. It would seem strange that they would make a battery pack that's double as big.
It's not quite well. If you look at it, and you can click. We'll link it up in the show notes. You can click, and they have like a little teaser video where they have two guys like lift the top off the floor pan, and you can see into it. And see if you've ever seen inside a car battery pack, it just looks like a bunch of circles from the top, right? A bunch of little like I think giant AA batteries, and you just see all these empty spaces, and you can hear somebody off camera say, "Well, that's a little different." Right. So they usually are probably full if he was surprised by seeing it was different. And like, we'll see what they say. Tesla usually doesn't talk about their engineering decisions too much. But again, having read Elon Musk's book, I can definitely like he's always trying to say, what can we remove? What can we remove? What can we get by with to meet the minimum requirement? Like they were talking about their solar panels on roofs and these brackets. And he was like, can we do that with one screw instead of two screws? Right. And he's like, well, hurricane force winds. He's like, maybe we'll lose a few solar panels, but for the process efficiency and cost measures that would save, it's a likely trade-off. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, hey, we can pull 15% of the cells out of this and still get acceptable range. But also maybe they do have a very well thought out engineering reason for it. Like, oh, actually, if you look at the balancing, it's so precise because this component's on this side of the truck. Who knows? But I can see it going either way.
So interesting. And I just love the fact that like a car is the center of pop culture.
Yes.
And having a conversation like that, like people are ripping apart a car because they're interested in cars as a culture. Right. So that's a good thing for all of us. I think that
a car brand.
Cybertruck is getting that type of visibility.
I love that. Well, look, we hope you are excited about cars a little bit more after the show than you were when you started, because it's worth it, because you get to deal with so many people and take care of people. Kyle, safe travels home. Say hi to all of our friends there, and we'll see you back in the office tomorrow.